Zul 1.0, straight axle. Gatekeeper with the rear trailing arms, straight axles. Sendero, straight axles. Bushido, straight axles. Sendero SE, straight axles. Night Runner, IFS, straight axles in the rear. Ecto, straight axles, rear trailing arms. And the good old little Enduro straight axles. But just wait a minute. One of these things is not like the others. I don't have every Element Enduro ever made, but I got a fair few of them. And my mate Simon has the Trail Runner as well, all straight axles. Now, I haven't had the builder's kit and I haven't had anything with portals. Well, that changes today with the Trailwalker Portal Plus. One thing you may not have considered about portals is that with that extra set of gears in the portal box next to the wheel, you've got a small gear and a big gear, right? So you've got the potential there to play with overdrive and underdrive. And that's something that the Enduro has, well, not lacked in exactly, but I haven't been able to tune overdrive and underdrive in my Element rigs, particularly beyond the transmission. That gives you 5.7% overdrive to the front, with the optional gear for 11.83, but that's it. My ideal sweet spot for overdrive, front overdrive or rear underdrive, either way, is in competition use, somewhere between, say, 27% and 35%. That would be my, we've hit the root. That would be my ideal sweet spot for overdrive. So portals give you that possibility. Now well, that's quite a pretty vista, isn't it? Element RC National Park. Well, that's kind of pretty. I've camped pretty extensively in Australia, and it is a stunningly beautiful country, but then I see photos from the Americas, and that's stunningly beautiful as well. And then you see photos from elsewhere, and the conclusion one can only make is we have a stunningly beautiful planet. Aren't we lucky? I haven't opened a new Element box for a while. It's got a bunch of weird stickers. These seem a bit different to the usual ones. I feel some kind of tool in there. Let's see if we can open this up. If you're joining me for the first time, g'day, my name's Craig, and I started my channel looking at rock crawlers. We've kind of expanded since then. Oh, we got mirrors with mounting hardware. When I first saw this thing, I thought, gee, that's pretty. Is it a hard body? And I bought it. I wasn't sent this for review, and I don't know how long it's been out for. I purchased this myself at retail. The secret of the Element crawlers is that they're all the same truck. All of them. It's modular in nature, so they fiddle with axles primarily, but also transmission and links, and bodies, obviously. Even the wheelbase is adjustable, but it's fairly similar. Increasingly, manufacturers are abandoning plastic. This is the most plastic I've seen inside any new box for a while. It's nice to be able to say that because the planet's got enough single-use plastic already. They've gone to the Turbo RC model. So these guys have been changing through different radios for a while now. This is the, I mean, it doesn't say it, but it'll be the Turbo RC, or is it standalone? I can't remember. It'll have, yeah, AAAs. It takes 4 AAAs. So already that's a very welcome change. Right, so we have a nice little radio. It says it's 4-channel. You've got channel 3 as a button, I think. Oh yeah, it doesn't have a very nice tactile feedback to it. And channel 4 isn't labeled as such, but it has a drag brake setting of probably off, low, and high. This is the optional gearing, nice and wide, given it's nylon. Optional gearing to give you 11.83% overdrive. Wider battery tray, the narrow one will be installed by default. Right, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get all the plastic, a little antenna, I'm going to get all the plastic installed on this, and I'll come back. Here's what I know about Element RC so far. They like their dad jokes. They're a fan of dioramas. They can't measure too well when it comes to the sticker sheets, and they're all about efficiency. Let me show you what all of this means. I've just spent nearly an hour, partly because I'm slow and partly just because it was fiddly, getting this 4Runner style car ready for the camera. This is, of course, the Element RC Trailwalker Portal Plus. What's the plus for? I don't really know. But it does have portals, and this is the first element that I've had which has portals. We still have a chassis mounted servo, and it is the same servo, 1523 MG. Is that the same? Yeah, it's the same 1523 MG waterproof basic servo. It does suffer from some fade, but overall it's good enough, you know. You had the options to attach these mirrors, and they keep, I've pressed them in properly, but they're not the most sturdy design. You've got little plastic door handles as well, wipers, a couple of antennas. Now I've added that one, I've added the mirrors. I've also, from the sticker sheet, they had 2 lots of panels, and I thought it's already brown, let's brown it up some more. It's a little bit on the messy side. If you look closely, this is the most obvious one. It's like they weren't measured. The wheel arches were way too small for the car. I've had to cut or otherwise fold the sticker in. It doesn't look crash hot. Also, the indicator orientation changed with these stickers, and there's also quite a big gap between panels. I've tried very hard to line these up properly. Look, it could be me, I'm not sure. I also quite enjoyed the little Portal from Valve, Portal game reference. I haven't thought of that before, which, now that I've seen it, I can't unhear Portal for any car and not think of Gladys. Transmission's a little bit different, still has the same overdrive to the front, and it comes with the bigger overdrive gear, and you can get it straight through if you want it. It still has the 2 different battery trays, and we've still got the LU shocks, oil filled with bleed valves on them, which is very nice. They're still using nylon ball ends for their links and for their shocks rather than stainless steel. I'm in 2 minds about that. Nylon certainly is happier when it gets wet. And we still have the same winch piece, so the same plastic for the servo still holds a winch if you want it, servo winch, and a fair leads on the front. What's different though, well, there are a couple of things that are different since I've visited Element anyway. First and foremost is the electronics, and like I said before, this looks like a turbo RC radio. I have one of these, a couple of them actually that I've just bought on their own, and an all-in-one ESC. Now this is 2 and 3S compatible, as I understand. We're going to run 3S. You know what, I should just double check that. Turn him on. It also has an on-off switch, which is new. The Reedy system they used to use didn't. I see they've bundled the antenna in with the servo lead. That's generally a bad idea. Well, we're 3S compatible. As far as endpoints go, steering, trim, steer, and dual rate. Okay, so it's a basic radio, trim and dual rate as standard. Dual rate so-called because it adjusts both sides of the throw. And we've got the lovely behind the axle steering, the bars here and not in front like so many cars are. Pick a car and you'll see the steering link is in front, usually. Some of the Boom Racing stuff, wherever it is, had behind the axle. The current one doesn't. We've got to get to that. Anyway, I like behind the axle better if we can get it. I love this little LU middle piece instead of plastic, so that's going to bolster your drive shaft, which is great. For reference, I'm using a 2200 milliamp hour 3S battery, fairly standard little size. It did not fit in the stock battery tray. Now you've got another radio box and some other stuff if you want to remove this all-in-one and have something separate, like more traditional with discrete components, right? And that does have grommets and stuff, so you can waterproof that if you like. This is apparently waterproofed as is. It's a 16-turn 5-slot motor. They use the same axle front and rear. This cuts down your manufacturing costs, I guess, and they've just got these little lockouts that keep the wheels straight. But if you were to remove them, you'd have floppy little axles. The one thing I noticed is they don't have the double arm that gives you the behind the axle steering. If you were to convert this to a rear steer, you don't get the nice little LU piece, and they haven't given you anything for the axle or for the body, so it might be purchasable separately. I don't know. That's if you want rear steer. I'm not suggesting you want it. I'm just saying if you did, that's the situation. You've got the hardware for it, but not all the hardware. That's okay. 3D printing can come to the rescue, and maybe they sell it. The last little thing I'll mention is the little body pins are the small, flat, unbent kind. They're really painful on some fingers, mine included. I take a little bit of fabric tape and I just threaded it through, taped it to itself, and now I've got little pull tabs. Just cheap and cheerful. The plastics are held in with these little kind of washers that kind of press on. They're just a press fit. You can pop them back off again if you want. We'd have light buckets for the front and the rear. not for the sides. They've already got plastic lenses on this. These aren't stickers. They did give you a full extra set of lenses as well. If you put lights in the rear, it's just going to shine through the sticker, so that's arguably fine. This side thing's bugging me. I probably, once it gets scratched up, I'm going to just go back to having the Lexan. Certainly doesn't weigh anything, and it's not a spare wheel. It's just a little elastic covered plastic jigger. It's kind of nasty, to be honest. The one benefit of having it like this, just cheap and empty, is that you don't have to pay the weight cost of having a spare wheel on the back, or the appearance of one. So there's that. Oh look, these mirrors. This keeps happening. I've popped them together as they're meant to go. I know I have. There's no manual with this, but they only go together one way. It was quite clear. It's not going to last very long. So it's a bit hit and miss, this body. They've got the stickers a little bit out, and the attachment method for the plastics, it's odd. While I'm fiddling with this, I'll thank my channel members. Thank you guys for your monthly support. I've got more crawling content coming, a lot more. I've been kind of in the wars a little bit recently, just trying to get through life. And we're a bit behind, but there's all sorts of cool stuff happening. I paid a lot of money for this thing. I got it with a discount, a substantial discount. The recommended retail in Australia is $7.49 AUD. I got it for $6.79. The amount of truck you get for $6.79 has been getting better and better, but not with Element. That's a shame. I've got several branded things here that are, you could buy nearly 3 for the same price, and they have, some of them have more features. Anyway, that whine is from the ESC running at a lower frequency, and it sounds like 2 kilohertz. The higher the frequency, the hotter the ESC gets, but the more quiet it gets. Right, let's get this thing on the 6 problems. It's been a while. Now, it's called a Trailwalker. That's maximum speed on 3S, which is a brisk walking speed. I'd say about 5 kilometers an hour, maybe 6. Not that brisk, I guess. The default position on this radio is 75%. There's 50. There's 100. It's actually skids. Back to 50, and it kind of engages more slowly. It's geared a bit high for my liking. And 75%. Well, it's got to be in between, isn't it? Good enough. Given we're on 3S, gee, it's the problem is with brushed, this kind of brush system, it's quite slow, and yet it's too fast for crawling. So really 2S would be what we want here. It is quite punchy. Gee, that body rattles and bangs, doesn't it? Okay, back where we were. This is problem 1 for the Element Trailwalker Portal Plus. Let me know in the comments if you know what the plus is for. They're the same grabber tires, general grabbers, that we've tested and used on most crawlers. This is going to have busted the mirror. These mirrors just suck, man. I cannot get this one to go in. I've done it correctly. There's no manual included with it, but I know I've done it correctly. It's going to keep popping out till it dies. She's bouncy. Now, different tires and some weight down low, like you might have seen on the Bushido at the start of the video, will make a difference. But this thing's a very floaty thing, and the Ecto absolutely outcrawls it currently. I think it's actually a little bit high, and the foams in these tires, just to my feel here, are too firm for the weight of this car. If you keep these tires and the foams, but you put heavier beadlock wheels on it, which is acceptable for this kind of car, and if you get some brass, maybe some like C-hubs on the front might be the way to go, or even portal boxes if they've got them, that'll help. As it is, it's too top heavy. It's not a heavy car, but it's still too top heavy for what it is. And this foam is really, they're just too firm. There we go. Now that took a bunch more goes than really, I'm being generous to this car here. I've left the stock overdrive, although if I was going to keep it, I mean I am going to keep it, if it was my daily driver, I would be putting in the 11.87% gears that it came with. When I say overdrive, if you're new to crawling, I mean I want the front wheels turning faster than the back wheels. That's not intuitive, but you wouldn't want that in a real car. Can't flip itself over either. And that mirror is going to be absolutely munted by now. I'm just going to leave it. It deserves to look like that. Yeah, the front wheels are good because they'll load up the rubber by spinning a bit faster than the rear, and also the rear won't push the butt around when you're trying to navigate a crawl. There's very little room for error there. Doable, but gee, very close. So overdrive is preferable on crawling. It helps even on trailer trucks too. If you look back at my BRX01, I'll just take a photo for a thumbnail. If you look back at my BRX01 video, the original one, it had two-wheel drive transmission. Then when you engage four-wheel drive, I'd put 33% overdrive gears in the transfer case, and that will just drag the nose around beautifully. It actually makes a big difference, some overdrive. In any case, we've got some here. It's just under 6%. Overdrive isn't the problem here. We could be like 1-to-1 front and rear, or even 30%. It'd help a bit, but this thing has a foams problem and a center of gravity problem. That's my issue with it. Still, it's the same promising platform, and we know from testing lots of Enduros that, yeah, you can make these things crawl beautifully. I'll put a few links below on how to make this thing crawl better, like the stuff that you might want to put in it. You don't need to spend a packet, but unfortunately adding mass does change things. You might consider the Enduro silicon inners if you're going to keep the thing stock. I would highly recommend, like almost not negotiable, put the overdrive gears in that it came with, the 11.87 or 83, whatever it is. Keep these tires, they're actually fine, and they need a heavier car. So get unsprung mass. Don't make the body heavier, but make the axles heavier, especially the front. C-hubs are so-called C because they're the outside part of the axle here. So that there is your C. It's like a C, well, back to front, but there's your C. So you can get this piece in brass. These are the portal boxes I was talking about. That's the portal box, and then there's the portal outer, which faces the wheel. Getting those and these in brass would be lovely. I don't know if they're available in brass. And then just like Enduro beadlocks with the weighted brass rings. So you're going to need to spend a little, not a huge amount, but just those two changes and change nothing else. And you will find the car is transformed. Like, honestly, if you watch my Bushido update, I'll link that below as well. You will see just what a difference brass made to a similar car, though without portals. This is my first one with portals. What do I think of it so far? It'll be fine, you know, like quite okay. It's not a great crawler, but it is definitely a crawler despite the name. Trying to convince you otherwise. You've got look, this is crawling hardware. I don't really, you don't have to share my opinion, but let's just test this ESC. Forward. Okay, so it's actually a quality ESC. They've got the same amount of MOSFETs for front and for forward and reverse. That's a good thing. So they haven't cheaped out on that. Yes, this is a crawler. You might say, no, it's in the name, that's trail. Sure, but look, it's got massive suspension. The links are also set up to help with that. Behind the axle steering, you don't need that on a trail truck. And the overdrive in the transmission and portals. All of this speaks to a vehicle that's trying to be given every possible chance. Even with portals, that back diff is getting caught on the entry rock, so we need a different angle here. These are all to give it every chance on the rocks. And of course the drag brake too, which I'll leave on 100%. It just needs some help with mass, I think. I hold trophies from numerous years in crawling comps. I'm the president of the Melbourne Comp Crawling Club. We ran the Nationals here earlier this year, or the Nationals equivalent. I do know what I'm talking about. I have many blind spots and there's always more to learn. But I'm not just making this up. I'm not just giving unbased opinion. This is opinion that I've earned with many years in the hobby. And yeah, look, I could be wrong, take what I say with a grain of salt, but I would suggest to you that I know more about this than the average Joe. And I bet you I'm right on the foams and the tires. Just getting that mass in the front will help. Or if you want to keep it stock, let's change the camera angle. By the way, while I'm having a chat, this thing's just walking problem 4. So this is the portals doing the job. This is the toughest problem for many cars. And it just, it just did it. So kudos to it. This is really promising too. So this ties in with what I'm interrupting myself and saying. Adding some mass and adding some mass is going to make a humongous difference to this thing. It definitely has the chops with this with this setup. It definitely has the chops to be amazing. As we come into problem 5, I'll now give you the recipe on how to make this thing into an absolute beast if you're interested. You're watching a crawling test video, so I'll give you my opinion. This is not tested, but I'm probably right. Get that weight into the front like we talked about. Change the tires or don't. They're reasonable and they'll get better. But as long as the thing's heavier, I think these foams will be okay too. This servo fades and it's also strong, but see that slow down there? It's struggling. These are now optional extras, right, to turn it into that beast I was talking about. All right, so I highly recommend a servo that can take 7.4 volts. And again, I said how to make it into a beast. Get a Hobbywing Fusion SE 1800, and then you won't need to worry about it being too slow or too fast. The Pro 2300 probably would be too fast, although a small opinion could help you there. Overdrive here would be nice because the back wheels wouldn't reverse so much and the front would just push the thing around instead of that happening. But you need fairly extreme overdrive for that to help. We'll come back off it because this is just the second part of problem 5. We're trying to get up to here. And then even with the Fusion SE, you can set the BEC, the built-in battery eliminator circuit that powers the radio and the servo, to 7.4 volts. And then with your overdrive, the last thing to do would be to get Element's aftermarket portal gears, which give you 36% overdrive, 36% underdrive in the rear. And then you're going to want to keep these stock gears in the transmission instead of the 11.87, because you're going to be sitting on 41, 42% overdrive with the portal gears. I wouldn't go above 40. I think even 35 is about what I'd want, 36. So if you can get the straight through gears, so much the better. This, not being able to do this problem, which almost everything can do, really speaks to the center of gravity issue. But I see the potential. Again, it just floated over problem 4, so I don't think I've ever had a car that does that. Now this is problem 6. I'm already failing out of the gate. It says these portals give you almost an extra inch of clearance under the diff than the stock axles. That's great, but they also remove that almost an inch of center of gravity in the right direction. So this thing's got its work cut out for it. Oh, good. So the drag brake works quite well. I wish I had higher overdrive here because I want the back wheels to spin to bring the nose around, but I don't want the rear wheels really to back up any further. We're only on 6%, so it's close enough as it's going to make very little difference. It still managed it okay. The approach angle is not terrible. That bull bar has the D shackles. You can probably cut them off if you don't want them. They're there for looks. They'll be functional, but they kind of get in the way. Now we're going to want to go left as hard as I can and then hoik it right. There you go. So this car doesn't have an issue with clearance, that's for sure. Not the cleanest finish to 6. Let's just give it another go to show that it wasn't luck. But it made that look easy. There we go. So usually what I do is I'd go hard left and then bring it around to the right, compress that front right, and then up it goes. It didn't actually have a lot to do then. The portals make a huge difference. So gosh, there's potential here. I'll pop this on fast forward. Let's just get a range test, because I haven't used this radio before. That's top speed too, so she's kind of slow. Oh, and look, there's it's got quite a bit of body roll, which torque twist, which I wouldn't have expected. Let me just bring that back. Gosh, this thing's too light. It's just too light up top. Yeah, we need to increase the preload, the damping on the back right shock. It'll make a difference. Okay, so I've had the throttle pinned the whole time. We're very far away now. It's got more range than it needs, and that's with the radio held at waist height. So ample range for a crawler, no worries there. Another thing to fix. Turn this guy down a few turns. It'll make a difference. It seems like a lot, but it'll make a difference. Here's the bottom line. I'll keep it brief. Out of the box, it's a frustrating car to drive. It's too fast when I want to go slow and too slow when I want to go fast. The foams are too firm. The tires are a little bit stiff as well. The center of gravity is way too high, and the steering fades under heavy use. Nothing gets particularly hot. Gets warm though, I mean, it's been working hard. The stickers don't fit properly on the body, the mirrors are stupid, and it rattles and bangs and has a cheapish feel to it. And it's not cheap at all. That's the bad out of the way. The good is actually much more exciting, like much more. This thing struggled with the easy problems. Problem 1, 3 and 5 are the ones that you'll see many mediocre crawlers do. And with some extra upgrades, they may also be able to do 2, maybe, 6, maybe, and 4, ooh, very maybe. I've seen this over and over again over the years here. We're in our 5th year here working on the 6 problems, and they haven't changed. This thing walked the hard problems. Problem 4 in particular, and problem 6. It just did it. Now it struggled with 1, 3 and 5, and I think 2 wasn't much of an issue at all. 1, 3 and 5, 5 it couldn't do. And 3 it couldn't do actually. So out of the box, just on paper without this context, you might go, it's kind of average. No. This is actually going to be the best of the Enduro range that I have here. Once it's got brass C-hub, possibly a brass portal cover, that'd be nice. The overdrive gears from Element, keeping this transmission the same or dropping it to 0 if you really want, but look, keep it at 5.7 and have the 36% overdrive gears in the portal box. It'll be a little bit higher, like 42%, it's a bit high. But the thing is, as long as the car is mostly light, it's not going to bother you too much. Get some nice Enduro beadlocks or beadlocks of your choice. Keep the same foams and tires because you're going to need the extra foam once you've got that extra mass. Consider a Fusion 1800 kV, put that on 7.4 volts, get a 7.4 volt nice servo. I'll put all this below. I'll give you the basic recommended build and then the all-out build without going absolutely bananas. And look, run some lights if you want. They've got the buckets already. Then you'll have probably the best of the Element Enduro range that money can buy without going absolutely balls to the wall comp build. I've never had a car that can do the hard problems and not the easy problems. That just tells you this thing is just packed with potential. It's not well realized in this current setup, so you know it gets like a B+, but gee whiz, it's not hard to turn it into an A+, but you've got to be ready to spend. So for Australian money, you're going to be spending a total, including the truck, of 1,000 to 1,100, whatever that is in the USA. You get a lot more RC crawlers from other brands for that money, but if you really like this particular body and this style, there's nothing wrong with it, but you're going to want brushless for that low and high speed flexibility. This feels like a bit of a miss to me, this car, while also being the highest in potential of all the cars. I wouldn't have expected that. I really wouldn't, but I like how it looks. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for watching, throw me a like, and I'll catch you next time, very soon, and hopefully with more crawling content on RC-TNT. Cheers.
Well done. In fact, you did so well. I'm going to note this on your file in the commendation section. Oh, there's lots of room here. Did well. Enough.